Hi, welcome to another special edition of the Aloha Pools and Spas Deep Dive Podcast. I'm John, along with Brad, and today we have Bryson Webb and Drew Almy, right, from, is it DOTEC?
DOTEC.
DOTEC. All right, there we go. DOTEC.
DOTEC engineering.
DOTEC,
DOTEC.
Digital Optimization Technologies.
Okay, all right. Well, that's fascinating. Yeah. So before we got on the air here, John was saying usually I walk the show and try to recruit somebody, and they came up wanting some photos, and they engaged in the conversation and said, "Yeah, well, we'll get on and talk. What's going on?" So I'm kind of coming in blind here. So what are you guys doing at the show? I know you don't have a booth. We discovered that. Yes. And so what are you guys doing at the show? And what is your business? And walk us through this.
So we're a nationwide engineering firm. That's what we do. We don't do surveying. We don't do permitting. It's all just engineering. So civil engineer, civil, structural, MEP, and architectural and drafting services. So if you need something that requires a permit, you need to have engineering. So we're here actually just walking around looking for folks that are maybe open to outsourcing their engineering needs or potentially partnering up, and maybe they have somebody that wants to focus on actually turning them quicker. So that's why we're here.
Right. And here in the St. Louis market, we have to have engineering plans just to do a residential pool. Mm-hmm. And so is that something you guys have done or would do? Or
yes. Okay. Yeah, we actually have a dedicated department just for pools.
Just for pools. Okay. Right.
Yeah. But neither of you do the pools.
Not personally.
All right. Well, and this wraps up another. No, I'm totally playing.
Thanks for your time, guys.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Yeah. So, but no, we have every pool has to have that. So I'm interested. I'm glad that you came in, even though you don't have a booth, and even though I didn't recruit you. So what else? What else you guys have to do engineering for around here? I know the retainer wall is over 4 feet. Don't want to steal your thunder, but they have to be over 4 feet tall. Retainer walls in this part of the world has to be engineered. Yep. And so, what do you find yourself doing on a given day?
Well, in a pool context, obviously you need like structural for the materials, or like if you're doing a deck or a pergola or something like that. So we'll coordinate with any project in terms of like scope or size. Most of our jobs are either like a review and seal, like you say, hey, this is my design package. Can you make sure this meets code? Or like, is there anything you would recommend to change? And like Drew had mentioned, we do have our MEP department, which does like pumps, electricity, gas lines for like fireplaces, stuff like that.
I see. Yeah.
Bryson's got a good customer that's called the Bridge Bros. So they focus strictly on doing bridges, either small pedestrian ones that are like walkover bridges or like highways as well. So they're strictly niche. I tend to focus more on land developers because I like running civil projects. So people who like can see raw land and go, I'm going to put in a mixed use building here, or I'm going to put in a strip mall, or I'm just going to do strictly residential houses, or so that's what I focus on.
Yeah, so I have to ask you this. There's somebody I know I'm really close to that has a house that they would like to tear down and rebuild. It's on Kentucky Lake, and they know a good bit about the lay of the land, and they are kind of have an idea, and they're extremely handsome and almost 60, barely 60 years old. No. My wife and I. My wife's going to kill me if we don't either buy a house or rebuild on this one. We decided that we didn't want to add on, because it'll be adding on to a 60 or 70-year-old house, and you don't have all the. It'd be probably frugal to do, but and I want to do it too. But the house kind of lays, and the ground is kind of contorted, and the view of the lake is, we're looking at the back of the house now, and the view of the lake is right here, and so. That is a little bit above my pay grade to get the barn pushed back. I think I got an idea on that. And then to get the house and everything presented in a manner that presents itself to the lake and the lake to us, and then get the driveway in and make it all work. Is that something that you guys do on a daily? Or
definitely.
That's kind of what they're dealing with, all the elevations, and then getting the from the driveway down to the zero elevation, I guess you might say, and then making it all. I'm going to take a stab at it, but when we leave, I have your card here, and it may be if I called on you, that's at Kentucky Lake, which is about 3 hours from here. You could work with something like that.
Yes, sir. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, being a nationwide company, and we've been that way since 2000. Even though we opened up in 1991, since 2000 we've been nationwide.
So, and tell me about the nationwideness of your company. Does that mean that you just do work in all states, or do you have offices in several states, or how does that look?
Great call, and I appreciate you bringing that up. So we have a presence in St. Charles, Missouri, but we don't have any other offices elsewhere. That's kind of part of our niche, our approach. So sometimes it'll take months to do a project, where we do them in weeks, right? And especially with the way the world is now, a lot of builders, a lot of folks running projects, want them done quicker, right? More projects mean more money, so everybody wins.
Sure.
But on top of that, the fact that we have dedicated groups that know all of the research codes and everything that's required for each AHJ or municipality, our owner thought this would be the best approach for everybody, right? So sometimes we'll get some pushback, like, oh, you're not local, how are you going to know? Well, it's 2026, and with the amount of technology that's like, have you ever gone on Google Earth? Like, it's pretty amazing.
Well, exactly. We do it all the time.
Right.
No, and being a nationwide company is not, you don't have to have, in fact, I can see a lot of advantages for having that, that one stop where everybody that does the work is in the same house.
Yep.
And the cohesiveness of a setup like that, it probably allows you to be nationwide and have a stronger piece of the or a bigger piece of the pie, or a stronger foothold in your space.
It does, and you got some customers and clients that are very price conscious, right? I mean, again, with the way everything's been going, you got to be price conscious. So with not having brick and mortar in all states, with it being nationwide, we can offer Midwest pricing to people in California, Texas.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of our value add. So not only do we know what we're doing, we can offer it less expensive and turn it quicker. Why wouldn't you do it?
Well, exactly. And if there's anything that I do in I like to play around with marketing, but my other passion within our company is processes. And what I mean by I'm talking about construction processes, because we have taken pool builds from 2 weeks to a week to a few days, depending on the project. Not every one of them. And there's a pullback on that a little bit. And to where we can do them if the stars line up and we're not relying on other contractors in a few days, depending on the start on the lower end pools, for sure. But the idea that I kind of believe, and I strongly believe that you can do things better and faster at the same time. There's a breaking point at some point, but we haven't met that. And there's a breaking point at some point, but then my question is why is it breaking right there? Can we recircle and figure out there's something else? There's always another way.
Right.
And I love that part of it. And to me, I know for a fact that who's the company that has their hands in everything? Warren Buffett. Berkshire Hathaway. My brother was telling me about they bought this trailer house, or this mobile home factory in Savannah, Tennessee, and he took his specialists, and they were building a house in like 4 or 5 hours, and then the Berkshire Hathaway company, they send all their people in, and they got it to where it was almost cut in half. The build time was almost cut in half. Wow. Now, I know that I'm quoting my brother, who's probably quoted somebody else, who quoted somebody else. Who knows?
Sounds like the Amish.
Right. Exactly.
It's all going raging,
Well, that's a fascinating, but there's your process, and there's, I guess there's that loss of, there's take a certain amount of people and put it to that. You can build anything faster if you got enough people, but finding that breaking point, or that that perfect mixture of everything, so you can bring a better product to somebody faster.
Yep.
You have less people on your payroll to go build pools. That brings the price down. It's something similar. Two businesses that couldn't be further apart.
Right.
Have similar philosophies. This is pretty cool that you walked up here.
Yeah, I like it. You could tell you've been in it for a while too, because that's what we talk about. Bryce and I focus more on emerging markets. So have you ever heard of additive manufacturing? The new
additive manufacturing.
Yeah, the new
No,
cement,
I mean,
the new cement where it's like 3D printing houses out of cement.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, it is such a niche market right now.
Right.
But to your point too about knowing that, hey, I can produce this much quality before, hey, my efficiency is now sacrificing that quality.
Right.
What is causing that?
The other way around.
Yeah, or the other way around. That's where
I've always heard
where
the
focus.
rule of the three things. You know, you can do cheap, fast,
Cheap, fast,
right?
and good.
or
Good.
or
you can only
good.
pick two.
Cheap, fast, good.
You
know,
do
pick
too.
any two.
Yeah.
You get I like
Yeah,
that.
no, 100%. Same thing with engineering services too. You know, because we've been doing a lot of. We just beta tested some social media marketing too, which we thought was, you know, kind of pitching that idea to the owner a little bit. He was like, "Well, I don't know. You know, they're not from the industry," and it's like, "Well, they have needs, right? Like this time last year, everybody with the tornado coming through, they needed engineers to come out and provide
Right.
structural services for their
Yeah.
house. Like, there's a market, and that's again what Bryson and I focus on is finding those emerging markets.
Do you guys
Exactly.
do search marketing on Google right now? Now I'm talking shop.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
The marketing guy here.
Yeah. Do you mentioned social media marketing? Do you do like search marketing through Google, all the Google stuff already?
Yeah, we got a gal that just
Yeah,
like
good.
all she does all day just hangs out on there, and I try to get us the better rankings. She's going out on maternity leave here shortly, so
You know, in this area, you just about you need almost an engineer engineer drawing of a porta potty. I mean, there's a lot. It seemed like to be a lot of work for you. And my initial thought is social media might not be as important, but I disagree with myself.
Everybody's on there.
100%.
Everybody's on there.
everybody.
Yeah. Well, and everybody really need, if anybody's going to set foot in their backyard in this area, at least they're going to have an engineer just about for a lot of things like that. And so your guys being on social media, so they just know, because when we get to town here, we have to scramble to find. Now we found somebody that does our pools for us, but we had to scramble to do it. He retired. Thank God he came out of retirement. But we had to scramble for several months finding somebody to do the pools. And the pools are for the most part, fairly repetitive.
Right.
You know, we don't do a lot of, really off the rails pools.
Okay.
No, we stay within a certain parameter.
Sure.
We try to stay away. We can do them. I did one for myself, the gunite pools with the vanishing edges and all, but we don't travel well when we do that. We travel extremely well in a $60,000 to $150,000 price range, and so this works really well for us in this market. Got to have that engineer though before we can ever stick a shovel in the ground.
Right.
But yeah, so we're going to exchange information and
Definitely
see if we can do some business together.
Yeah, like that.
And then to expand on the social media a little bit, we've been working on LinkedIn. We've been doing Google ads. Most of our marketing is through Facebook right now, but we're kind of looking for anything and everything.
Right.
Like starting a podcast.
This is so cool, by the
maybe
way.
not.
I did not expect to do this today.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. Welcome.
Remember, we were talking about having a podcast and everything. It's like, what are we going to talk about all day? It's like engineering.
Well, yeah, no,
I said
you
the
would
same
think.
thing. He said, we need a podcast. And I was like, what are we going to talk about? And 3 months later, we just find stuff to talk about.
Right.
It's fun. It's the most fun. I get to meet people like you guys and learn about what you guys do, and have to get to learn a little bit better about how the world ticks.
Right.
And maybe somebody that's watching this learns it too.
Yeah.
So I think it's fun.
And then, if I may,
Yeah.
you're interesting 49-year-old gentleman with his Kentucky mansion, right? In that
Boy, you just got a job right there.
Yes, sir.
You drive me 11 years, heck yeah.
That makes
I
me
waited
12.
tables for a long time. There's a lot of that going on.
Right. I love it.
But in that instance, like, we would start with the civil side of it, so civil engineering.
Right.
If you were like, hey, the lake is on this side, here's a map of my property, we would work with it to like make sure that the home is oriented to the view. Moving the barn back, where does it make the most sense? Is it a septic thing? Like, we would go through
there's
civil
that.
first.
Mhm.
They would also do like your driveway, all your roads, that kind of stuff. Only thing to keep in mind is with civil work, you're going to need a topography survey, and a lot of people don't know that. So that's where a lot of our clients get held up, because it's 6 weeks to get scheduled and then a few weeks to get it done. So
Topography to me in this situation is what is the most important thing about the whole thing. I mean, to me, that's the first thing you would do. But
Correct.
okay,
from like scenic aspect of it. But a lot of people, if you're doing a development or something, you're going to want flat.
With civil engineering, if you're civil with me, I'm going to be civil with you.
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
Yeah.
That's from the marketer.
Agreed.
You know, that's me.
Yeah.
Although that's my knowledge of it.
School of hard knocks over there, right? You had a hard knock.
Just to piggyback on what Bryson was saying, though, regarding the survey, that really is the first thing. And what I always like to do, especially since we're talking more and more to B2C, if you're planning on doing a commercial project, get an Alta survey. It's more incumbent, it's more fulfilling, and then you'll handle the city needs, and everybody else will fall in line with the Alta survey. If you go,
what are you calling that survey again?
Alta,
Alta,
ALTA, all caps. I don't know what it stands for.
It's like altitude, topography.
I can't remember.
I don't know.
But it's the commercial
It's
one.
a comprehensive
Exactly.
survey, right?
And then for residential, the TMB, which is topography and bounds, is the one that you should order for residential projects.
Right.
Because there's not. So here's the thing, too, right? Because there's gray area in engineering, right? There's the right way, there's the wrong way, and then there's people that are walking the line. You can get work done, but if it's not stamped, nobody's going to get it. Nobody's going to adhere to it, right? So our civil guy, which I absolutely love to death, will not touch a project unless the survey's within 18 months of the land, right? Because if you think about it, right, if we're going to build you an elevation plan, like for your property specifically, hey, the back of the house is looking at the lake, but your survey is 10 years old. Well, after the last 10 years, all the rainfall and everything, the land's actually changed a bit. So the stormwater management's going to be different. Well, you've got some civil engineers out there that will hang their license without an updated survey.
Right.
And then when issues happen and the city's like, who's responsible?
Right.
That's where everything starts to unravel. And then that's the issues pop up.
Right.
So, and I get it. Surveys are expensive and we're not trying to add to the cost of the project, but we all want to do it right? If you do it right the first time, you don't have to worry about it for the years to come.
I would have to I honestly say I would side-eye a surveyor or an engineer that said, all right, this has changed over the last 10 years, but I've only been there 5 years. And I do know whenever you see a torrential downpour, the water that's running down that hill is not the color of the water that falls out of the sky. It's brown.
Right.
It's dirt. I mean, it's rolling dirt. So what you're saying is 100% accurate.
Right.
And what my side eye is like, okay, has it changed enough for that?
Right.
And if we can do that topography, that should seem like to me that's kind of where you square up.
Sure.
But
I think it's just the size of the project, you know what I mean, and what you plan on doing.
Yeah.
But a question for you too with spas and pools, have you noticed from the design aspect, what is it? They have rose petal and champagne taste on a beer and pizza budget sometimes. When they come to you with an idea that they have, how do you show them what their options are without being offensive? Because that's something we've been running into too.
Hey, I think we just landed on their podcast.
Yeah, there we are. That's good.
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. And it always happens that way. There's a salesperson I had at one time that he would offer everything to the people without ever pricing it along, and that's where you get that. Yeah, would you like this? Well, yeah, I would like. Would you like the grotto? Well, of course. What about Vanishing Edge? Yes, definitely love. And Tannish, of course.
Right.
And they've got a $300,000 pool, and I'm like, okay. Do you know that they can afford a $300,000 pool before you? So he's not managing expectations as they go, and a lot of time is wasted on that. And they do. I think what you have to do is talk to the customer about what is it the end result that they want, because a lot of times the end result what they want is a place to hang out with their family, and you find out what is not negotiable with them, and then you try to make sure they get that. When the budget starts thinning, and we figure out, and then some things that they want, they don't have to have that day. So, meaning okay, somebody wants this automation system, can be added anytime, set it aside.
Okay.
They want the salt system, can be added anytime, set it aside. They want the tanning shelf that sticks out of the pool, and with the bubbler coming up out of the concrete, or the umbrella holders, the umbrella holders can be added anytime, but you're never going to get pipe under there without being extremely disruptive. So we like to get the pool built, the construction part of it that is going to be more expensive for them. Let's get that right.
Okay.
And then that helps to mitigate their budget concerns.
That makes sense.
So do you end up building hey, this is more of a 5-year project for you in terms of adding this, doing this, let's start with this, and then do you have those conversations where you're suggesting not necessarily to forego these features, but to just install later?
Well, when you say 5-year project, if you mean they're staying there for 5 years, or it's okay to make this a 5-year project to get you what you want to get get in the pool right now and then get more as they go along.
Yeah.
Definitely can be done, and I think that some people do it now. More people than not. I would say at least 8 out of 10 people, they bite the bullet and they buy. When you pull it back from you, take $20,000 off the thing, you relieve them, and they buy that much, right. And then sometimes they get on contract, and then they get the momentum going, and they can't stop, and they ended up getting what they wanted anyway. But right. I'm the world's worst at buying. I always tell the RV story. A friend of mine had an RV. How much? $19,000. I said, $19,000. I can do that. This was 20 years ago, before I met my wife, and I said I can do $19,000. So I started looking at them. I'm going to go up a little bit. And short story long, $34,995 is what I ended up spending, but I bought it $3,000 at a time. Gotcha. And I got what I wanted. We had a wonderful time in the thing, but you just have to start at somewhere, and then you get comfortable with it as you go. So we
kind of start with the vision and build backwards.
I suppose you just kind of, you gotta, and I don't know about you guys, I research things when I big ticket things like that until there's nothing else to think about. Right. If I go somewhere and find something new, I can't find something new that sways me, then I'm ready to purchase. That's the last thing. And so I like to do that with people as well. And I probably drive them crazy. And then in return, I get driven crazy. Right. But at the end, I hope all I want to do is make a happy customer and get some. It's got to be just like you guys.
Exactly.
It's an ecosystem. I wear that word out. But when you have a happy customer, you create a network of people that say, these people use these people.
Right.
And
SOI, sphere of influence.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So
as the marketing guy, you know that, right? Best referral, right? Yep. Best marketing. Happy customers.
Like Brad likes to say, we build an ecosystem of customers. Everybody, hey, they built my pool, and you can build my cousin's pool, and then the cousin has a friend, and they will build their pool, and keeps growing until everybody.
And I think you'll find that every good job you do could likely turn into 10 more jobs like that. And it's the same. And if you have a bad one, it can turn into 30 that you don't get. So you gotta kind of stay on top of what you do to keep that ecosystem going. It's only an ecosystem if everything works in that system. So
that's true.
There you go. Yeah, he's comic relief. I'll be relieved when he stops doing comedy.
Comedy is all about
timing.
Oh,
timing. Sorry, you beat me to it.
They say there's 2 kinds of people. Those that can extrapolate from data.
From incomplete data. Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, hey. All right.
Well, I totally lost that. I thought it was like, that was the joke. Right. When you stopped, that was a joke.
That's good.
He stepped on your line? Did he step on your line?
I think 2 types of people.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I could have misheard it.
Well, here we are. I want to thank you guys for coming on. We've got
Bryson, I'm cheating.
Use my glasses.
Bryson and Drew.
Bryson and Drew from
DOTEC
Engineering. And of course, we're going to link you all your social media that you're advertising on. Do you have a YouTube yet?
Not yet.
We'll talk about that later.
Perfect.
But we would link that as well for you, and all of your in your podcast that you're starting. We'll go back whenever you do and link this to that, so you can be like, hey, we were on this first.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming on. This has been a special edition of the Aloha Pools and Spas Deep Dive Podcast. What we say every time: dive safely.
There you go.